Let's talk about another one of the live features in Adobe Illustrator, Live Paint. Live Paint is an interesting feature. It kind of sets you free to color artwork intuitively and impulsively, actually. With Live Paint, you can instantly apply colors and gradients and all kinds of things to enclose spaces in your artwork, but you don't have to make sure it's defined as a separate vector object. That lets you paint shapes and spaces the way I think your eyes see them, just as you would if you were coloring a drawing or a painting by hand. Now, I've got a couple of examples here to give you kind of a one-on-one idea of what Live Paint does. We're going to start with this circle over here. First off, I'm going to pick up a tool to cut that thing into pieces. So let's come over here. Click on your eraser tool and you'll see a scissors and a knife. Pick up the knife. Make sure that shape is selected. Just basically drag through it. And what you're doing is you're cutting it. So we have it cut into 4 pieces. Let's pick up our selection tool again. We do have that shape selected. Next step is to look at Live Paint. The Live Paint bucket is right over here. There's actually 3 tools, so let's pull these out of here with the tear off. You have a Shape Builder tool. We're going to look at that. You have the Live Paint bucket tool, and you have the Live Paint selection tool. Let's start with the Live Paint bucket. One of the misconceptions about this tool is that you have to work on something after you have live traced it. So a lot of people don't use it on objects that they've drawn in Illustrator. The Live Paint bucket can be used on any vector object. It can be converted into a Live Paint group, and you do that by clicking. So we just click once on this group. Now remember, these are 4 areas. You click on an area and it fills it with color. Just, I don't know, like the Photoshop Paint Bucket tool. Same basic idea. What I want you to do, though, I'm going to pull over the swatches because I want to show you something that's kind of fun here. If I want to change colors, I don't have to come up here and pick a color. I can use my left and right arrow keys. My left and right arrow keys will allow me to maneuver and change the colors as I move along. That can save you a lot of time. If you use the up and down arrow keys, it will take you to the next color group, and then you can use the left and right arrow keys to maneuver through that group. Once a group, say we like that and we're done. What we can do next is select it. It is still a Live Paint group. If we go to the word Object on the pull-down menu and go down to Live Paint, there is an option called Expand. If you expand the group, it becomes a vector without all the attributes that we put on it with the Live Paint, but it now becomes just a normal vector shape. If I pick up my direct selection tool, this might surprise you when I start pulling it apart. Normally speaking, the stroke would have come along with it, but when you Live Paint a group, everything is separated out. So one of the things you can do with Live Paint is, well, what we just did. Paint something out. Let's go ahead and undo and bring that back together. The next shape. I've got a couple of squares and a rectangle that are all put together. Now, according to the normal rules of engagement in Adobe Illustrator, we would not be able to fill this area right here because it doesn't exist. These are the shapes that exist, but this is Live Paint. So we're going to select them again, pick up the Live Paint bucket. If I come over here and click, I can change color. We know that. I can use my arrow keys to change to different colors, but as you can see, I also have the ability to fill in that area that technically did not exist until I created a Live Paint group. So another thing, enclosed areas become a shape even if there was nothing there in the first place. The next one, whole bunch of junk up here, right? Let me go ahead and select all of these. And let's go ahead and make those a Live Paint group. Understand what's happening here. These were once solid blocks. They're not anymore. As I click, it winds around those areas. Every different area, if it's intersecting somewhere, becomes a separate area that I can color. Total control over every single area. That's kind of amazing when you think about it. Now, if I color them all the same, which is fine, and then I come back over, pick up my selection tool, and then select all of these, we can come back up to the word Object, go down to Live Paint and say Expand. Pick my direct selection tool up. As you click on the areas, they are all separate areas now. So we've made, in a sense, new shapes from solid shapes by using this tool. Last one, down here, we have 2 ovals, and we'll go ahead and select both those ovals. Pick up that tool one more time. Get in here and click, and of course you can change the color if you want to. Make them all the same. But the one thing I want to show you down here, besides the fact that this becomes a separate area, and it wasn't when we began, is you're not limited to solid colors. Let me just do it up here because it'll be quicker. If I pick up the gradient, I can actually use gradients with this tool also. So you have all the control in the world. You can take shapes that are already existing in Adobe Illustrator and make them into live paint groups, and then just let your imagination run free and have some fun. This is the basic part of the live paint tool, but it works pretty good.